expected to get the start in net tonight for the Sabres. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock tonight. Pregame will start at 6 here on WGR. Join WGR and Bud Light for a Buffalo Football Friday happy hour. Schopp and Bulldog broadcasting live today from Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda from 3 to 7 p.m. You'll also be able to enter for a chance to win a Josh Allen jersey, no purchase necessary. Enjoy another live broadcast coming up at the Draft Room. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly, 21 plus. This update is brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome to Football Friday on WGR. As Derek just mentioned, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We're at Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan. First time here?
Yes, sadly. It's one of these places that I walk in and immediately think, like, where have you been all my life?
Mm-hmm.
I just, my wife, even more than me, but I've always loved a place that feels like this. And I've already texted her. I'm like, this is on the list. Like we're coming back because she loves like corner neighborhood type joints, and that's what this feels like.
I invited my wife to stop by to Mitchell's Beef and Beer, and she said, "You lost me at beef."
Oh, yeah, well.
Like, actually, I think I lost you when I said I was going to be there.
Right.
Working,
right.
But maybe I lost her at beef. Yep. So, hashtag lost her at beef.
I, too, my wife's got to work tonight, so she won't be swinging by. But I don't usually. I texted my friends and told them where I was going to be today.
Yeah.
I had a feeling like this would be a place that, like, people I hang out with would want to hang out.
Who's coming?
I don't know that.
Should you and I battle for who can get more people here?
I don't know that anybody has taken me up on it.
Are the Sabres on the road?
I have. Yes, they are.
I can't text those guys then.
Yeah. So
they won't come.
Anyway, whether you know us or not, or just listen to us. Come on down, man. If you like a cool scene for a Friday happy hour, I think we got one going for you.
It's a place, too, where this is just maybe me, but we are in a room surrounded, almost literally surrounded by Bills and Sabres pictures. And, they're kind of random. I mean, we're bandits, too. Here's Ian McKay over here, right? Josh Byrne was just here. The owner told me, Nick. And there's there's like a murderer's row of Norwood, Brett Hull, and Music City Miracle. And I just have to know what they're doing there. Like, what they're together. That's not a mistake.
Right.
That those pictures would be together to haunt us. I might, what do I know? I've never owned a bar. I might want to bury those a little bit. If I feel the need to display them, I might not put them like right at eye level. But again, that's interesting that's the case here.
I love that I was here a couple of minutes before you and was doing what you do when you walk in a place like this and sit down, sort of looking around, and no single photo jumped out at me. I could tell it was all Bill Sabres, and you're right to mention the Bandits right over your shoulder over here. But I didn't really focus on any one picture, and then you sat down and said, "Look at Norwood over there." And my eyes went to the Ferguson picture that's right behind this Heineken sign from where we're sitting. I'm like, Norwood, where's you mean him hanging his head, walking off the field at Super Bowl 25 with a Giants player wearing jersey number 30, it looks like?
Dave Meggett.
Okay, thank you, Dave Meggett. With his arms
it's post-kick.
Right.
I mean, Brett Hull over to the next slide is pre.
Yeah. It's the definitive
shooting the
smoking
puck.
gun. He's got the foot in the crease. The puck is outside the crease, and he's about to ram it in the net. It's the exact photo of the illegality of the play.
Yeah, I guess. And then Wycheck for Tennessee is about to throw the pass, forward on that one. But Norwood is post. We're already into the misery on that one.
I am kind of thrown off by the photo that those three go across a top row, and then the fourth, that's all there is room for between the wall and the corner of the wall and the light fixture. Then there's a cover, a Sports Illustrated cover from Tasker. I think that's maybe a Miami playoff game, Buffalo Stampede.
That's the Tyndale game.
Oh, that's the Tyndale game. Okay.
Cover of SI.
Right. Cover of SI, Tasker, Buffalo Stampede. And we couldn't find a still shot of 13 seconds.
Well, that's a little current.
That's a
too soon.
That's a positive photo there, and these other ones are all. It's only those three though. I'm not sure if I can spot another, epic meltdown photo.
How many more are there? Believe it or not, not that many. But below the Tasker one is BB and Leon Lett.
Okay. That's not negative.
It's not negative. I've never embraced that one as that doesn't make me feel good.
No, I know.
The Leon Lett play does not make me feel good.
I understand that. I don't think it makes me feel good, but it doesn't make me feel bad. It's mostly neutral.
I think he was in. By the way, but that's not why.
Right.
Whether he was in or not, who cares? It's a cool story.
Yeah.
Never quit.
Right.
But never quit.
Yeah,
we're down by 35.
That's what we take out of that Super Bowl.
I refuse.
It's a tough
I refuse to take that out of that Super Bowl.
I get that.
We're down 35 points.
Oh,
jeez. Great job. Good for you.
I'm sorry. I don't want to spend too long doing it. Did you see the portrait of Mike Robitaille over there?
Yes.
I just noticed that. Oh,
yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Nothing bad is happening there.
No, right.
That's just Mike.
Right. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's all around us.
It's a really good feeling here is the point. I hope we've painted a little bit of a picture by talking
lots
about
of pictures.
Right.
Lots of pictures.
Right.
Yes, so Sunday. 5.5. The line has come down a little bit. 53.5. What kind of game do you see?
I see a game, I think, where if the Bills are going to win, they're probably going to need to score 30-ish. 28, 30. I really am bracing for Cincinnati to be able to move the ball through the air. Do I need to say I hope I'm wrong? I mentioned yesterday, their passing defense has been excellent all year long, but they haven't really exactly run the Rapids with the teams that they've played. Tampa might have been a team that coming in, but you knew they were dinged up anyway. But if they were like what they were earlier in the season, that would have been a big test, but they were down a lot of guys. And, it wasn't that big a test. They took Ibuka away, and that was kind of it. Chase and Higgins and Burrow, I just think that they're going to eat, I think, on Sunday. I don't know if you're picking this game. Not that I need to give away picks.
I don't know yet.
Earlier.
I didn't try yet.
But I think I'm going to take the Bengals. And if I don't like the Bills, I usually just don't pick the game. Like that. Not that I'm Chris Berman or anything, but
no, you have not picked against the Bills in a long time.
I don't. I just would rather not. I'd just rather not do that. But I feel like this. I like the points. I mean, it doesn't mean I think the Bills are going to lose the game, but I think the least likely outcome for me is that the Bills win this game by a touchdown. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a closer game than that.
Well, that's not a great sign you speak for yourself. That doesn't sound like a great sign for how you think this is going to end.
Yeah.
If you can't see them, if you think the least likely outcome in a game against a 4-8 Bengals team is winning by 7 or more, then tell me how you think this ends. They're 4-8
with a field goal. I mean,
the season.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the Bengals are not. I mean, that offense is not a 4-8 offense.
No, but it sounds like it's kind of like, again, you do you here, but because I might not be any different actually. That you're sort of hoping that the Bills can skate through the playoffs, that they can go to, name it, Baltimore, Jacksonville, New England, or Denver.
None of their passing games scare me nearly as much as this Bengals passing game.
No, fine. No, nor should they.
Right.
But still, like, are you hoping to skate through there and win? And then, I don't know, the Super Bowl counts too, right? That we want that too.
Sure.
So whoever that is.
Yep.
Because really, do the Bills have a particular flaw or weakness against the pass relative to their other stuff?
No. Well,
so if I go to Baltimore again, I don't know. Baltimore needs to look good once for me.
Yeah.
I don't really want to use them for this, but even like, I guess Indianapolis with Taylor. Like, who has a better chance of beating me? Cincinnati at home in Buffalo. I mean, this game with Chase and Higgins. Higgins plays and Burrow, like with that, and Chase Brown. Like, they should be able to run it. I like that prop. I told you yesterday. I like that prop in this game, Chase Brown. But, that versus going to the Colts.
I'd go to the Colts 100 times out of 100.
Over this?
Yes. Yes.
Because they won't be 6-point favorites at the Colts.
No, they won't. I think this is the best passing game they've seen all year. I mean, a lot of this is sight unseen. I mean, it's, Burrow's played one game since the early part of the season. But I think this is an elite passing attack. And I don't think there's anybody else, even Baltimore, I don't think anybody else in the conference that has that.
But that's not the Bills' weakness.
I think the Bills are living off of not having to play a team like this.
Oh, really?
And I think they also have a problem this week that makes it worse in that, I mean, at least they got good news on Epinesa that he should be fine after the scare yesterday with him in street clothes at practice. But no Bosa. He's been really the only – like, Russo's metrics are good, but I don't see him as a havoc creator enough. Like, he might win his reps and get credit for, win rate and all that stuff, but I just do not see him around the quarterback as often as I see Bosa around the quarterback. Maybe that's, maybe I'm telling myself a lie when I watch. I don't know. But they're going to really miss Bosa in this game. Like, this is a game where if I've got a dude who can do the thing on the edge, go do that thing. Get me, a bushel basket of pressures and a couple of sacks on him, and I think I can slow you down. I'm not sure where that's coming from without him playing. And then I'm into, okay, what am I? I'm going to play my zone defense, and I think Burrow is just going to stand back there and chew me up. That's why, I think the Bills can win the game if they get their offense off, and this is not a daunting matchup in that respect. But, I mean, whose passing game do you feel better about coming into this game, recognizing that Burrow has barely played, and these three guys haven't been on the field together, I think, since, week 1 even.
Is that right?
Maybe week 2, I think, early in the year. So I'm just really worried about that matchup. And I don't know that the Bills can keep up. Maybe they can. Maybe they can pull a Tampa game out of the bag here, because I don't think Cincinnati's going to get to Allen either. But if I've got Khalil Shakir and Tyrell Shavers and Dawson Knox out there, I don't know if I can really trust that they're going to be able to keep up with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and even Gesicki if you want him.
I don't.
Okay.
Burrow gets hurt week 2 against Jacksonville, and Browning goes in, and they win anyway somehow. But
that ended. After that, Browning was not any good. That's why they went and got Flacco. That's all I meant.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't like where I'm at. Maybe we should have let you go first to start the show because it's Friday. It's happy hour. And I don't like where my head is at here. I think this is a lot. This is not your run-of-the-mill game against a 4-8 opponent. I think this is a team that if Burrow had been healthy all year is probably neck and neck with the Bills. in a playoff race, despite their defensive shortcomings. I think that offense, that passing game is that good that I think that they're probably, again, they're right there.
That's interesting to me because it feels like nothing personal. It feels like that's selling the Bills a little short because of how they, like, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and like they're still the AFC Super Bowl favorite, and the Bengals are 4-8. Like, I'm not going to be able to detach from that record. You know, it's funny. Like, maybe we live in a bubble with this offense and what it isn't. The Bills' offense now, not their defense. And their defense has been through a lot. And sure, you could, and people did, of course, criticize them for investing at the draft in their defense like they did, or free agency. But you can't deny that they've had some rough luck.
Oh, there's no question.
So then they were due for it, but it's still it's happened. Offensively, though, I think we're in such a bubble about how they play, who they aren't, what they aren't. They're running over teams like the Steelers on the road, Carolina before that, and it's almost like we don't care. And I don't just mean Bills fans. I mean, other analysts that I listen to sound likewise.
Right.
Just not that impressed.
What is wrong with the Bills' offense? And by that they mean the passing game.
When they beat the Steelers, it's about the Steelers. When they beat the Panthers, no one cares. In other games, they couldn't establish that. They couldn't do that. Houston, Atlanta, Miami. So I'm still, I said this maybe yesterday or the day before, I'm still kind of in this happy place, mostly, where I think this could be a team that we all just sort of give up on and they make it. And part of that is because there isn't Kansas City, or there may not be, or there isn't even this team, or Baltimore, like whoever there isn't. I kind of am feeling that because when they do what they do best in the right matchup, they have dominated. And that's last week. And you couldn't really see that game happening again. Maybe not, because Cincinnati's more capable, maybe far more capable.
I just think it's not even close. Yeah,
but offensively, couldn't they have that game?
Yes,
where they
yes, they could.
And have the ball. They had the ball for 41 minutes in Pittsburgh.
That game is. I think that game is possible. Yes, and I think they could have that and still have trouble stopping Cincinnati when they have the ball. Maybe that ends up affecting ultimately the total. Like maybe this game doesn't get to the 30s if the Bills are able to do that. Right. But instead, it's it's nip and tuck, and it's 27-24. That kind of game. I just think it's going to be a close game. I don't like the spread. I wouldn't bet the Bills. I'm not going to pick the Bills with that spread. And so I guess that I'm telling you that my mind is open to them losing this game. And then ultimately, what does that mean to the overall? Well, it means they're 8-5, and then they've got the Patriots next week. Is what that means, and it starts to get really, your collar starts to get pretty tight, I think.
This would be a really bad loss, though. After all that, this would be a bad loss. Losing to the Bengals. The Ravens just did it, and that wasn't close, actually, in the end, either in Baltimore, but I would call this a bad loss.
I'm not telling you that it isn't a bad loss. But to me, again, you say no offense, don't take it personally. I think you're hung up too much on the record. The record was largely accumulated without those three dudes on the field together, and I just think that is an elite combination of players that a great pass defense statistically this year could get
so
traumatized.
Is Burrow 3-0 this year as a starter? Weeks 1 and 2, and then last week,
I guess that's right.
He got hurt in week 2. He came back against Baltimore, so he's 3-0 as a starter.
Yeah.
Man, I watched. Where were we? Week 1.
Week 1, Sunday night.
Right. The Bills played at night. I watched a lot of that Bengals-Browns game. They were so lucky to beat the Browns.
Did they
only missed field goals?
Did they not get a first down in the whole second half?
It was terrible.
It was bad.
Maybe it's irrelevant because it's week 1 and this is week 14. Maybe that's irrelevant. But well, Sam's not going to know what to do with us if he's lost you. Like, here he is waving the Bills flag every day on Bet Sweats, and now he every Friday he comes on with us, and to varying degrees, we're like, I don't know. I've certainly been that. I haven't liked the Bills in a game against the spread since when? Since ever. I've almost never. Andrew, you and I both do Filipponi's show, and he makes fun of me, if not also you. We're like, you guys never like him. And I'm sure there are listeners who think that too.
I often do when I do his show, but this week I told him what I just said now. Part of the reason that's already planted in my head. I'm like, I don't like the number, and I'm worried that the Bills' pass defense has gotten fat on, mediocre or worse passing games.
I haven't liked their opponent every one of these games. There were a couple that I did. Even Carolina I kind of did with Dalton. I got myself into that place. But I think, Tampa, Kansas City, New Orleans, those were not games where I was like dying to bet the other guy. But it's been a while. Those are big spreads early in the season too. This one 5.5. We've got a lot to talk about beyond just this simple analysis of Bills Bengals. The rest of the AFC this weekend, including Houston and Kansas City, and what's better? What's a better result for the Bills in that game? I think it's probably Kansas City winning.
I think that's probably right.
But that doesn't,
especially if you're me and you're on edge about this game for the Bills, right? Because Houston, at least Kansas City, you've got them head to head, and they're a game back of where Houston is, who are a game back of you. So I think as hard. Listen, it doesn't matter. It's not going to matter what I say. That's Sunday night, right?
Yes.
I'm going to sit down to watch that. I could tell you. You could let me. I don't suggest we do this. I think it would be very bad radio. I could just say for the next 3 hours, I think I want the Chiefs to win. I want the Chiefs to win. I'm going to sit down to watch that game, and I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not 9, but I do not have control of my emotions enough when it comes to the Chiefs. No matter how good it is for me, I'm going to sit down, and as soon as something goes wrong for them, I'm going to be happy. And when something goes right for them, I'm going to be mad. I just intellectually cannot get there. So, yes, Chiefs is a better result. I hope they win. I'm not going to be able to do it. I just know I'm not going to be able to.
What about Browns-Titans? Have you thought about that yet?
Don't care.
That's 1 o'clock, so you don't have. That's in the way.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
I would like to see Cam Ward have a good game. Just once.
For your stance?
For all the accounts that I'm following that seem to still be hanging on to the idea that it's the collective. He's good. He just has no help. Coaching.
Sure. Even if that's right, he could still be doomed.
Yep.
That happens to quarterbacks, that's at least temporarily. That's Darnold maybe with the Jets.
Yep.
Where
that could happen.
He's seeing ghosts.
How much do you want to trust
but
that organization to hire the right guy?
Right.
They might step in it when they do that, and
they might have had the right guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Before they fired Vrabel.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, they could hire Matt Eberflus.
Oh, that would be perfect.
I mean,
we need a coaching carousel segment.
The Titans.
We need to go around, and once the season's over, I'm ready. Sam Panayotovich coming up. We'll also talk to Sal today, and the Sabres are back at it tonight in Winnipeg. 7 o'clock. What's that about? 7 o'clock in Winnipeg, not 8? Whose idea was that?
I don't know, but I'm here for it.
You like it?
Yes, I'm a fan. So, yeah, we'll talk to
You like a 7 o'clock Winnipeg game?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I like a 7 o'clock game on Mars. I just 7:30.
As long as it's not 7:30.
Just get out of here.
But 8 would be different.
Eight's fine too.
That's what I would have been expecting.
I wouldn't. Yeah, me too. I wouldn't have minded 8 either.
This is 6 o'clock local.
Yeah, that's odd.
We'll be back in a snap from Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. It's brought to you. What is brought to you? What am I saying is brought to you by this? The break. Our being back in a snap is brought to you by Snapdragon. There has to be something.
Yes.
Brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
Dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water, just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker, and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mumble rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need a spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
Okay. Darius Slay. Thanks, I'll pass. Slay says to the Bills. Would he have said that to the Eagles? Maybe he had a place there, so he wouldn't have technically
maybe it
moved?
wouldn't have been. He was just there last year, so maybe it wouldn't have been as big a deal.
Watch any of the World Cup draw today? I heard it was long.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I saw. I saw one highlight that I don't. No. I'm going to stick with no. Sorry, that was a lot more confusing than it needed to be. I saw one highlight.
I ignored it with a purpose.
Yeah, I was, I was doing other stuff.
What time was the World Cup draw?
That's part of the problem. I thought
it
was at 11:30 in the morning, and that was not a good time for me. And then around 1 or 1:30, I started seeing evidence that it was going on, and I just thought I thought it was at 11:30.
There are 12 groups. Seems like a lot.
If you say so. Yeah.
We have Group L. I need to catch up on the World Cup.
Yeah.
I missed today. I like a draw. I'll watch a draw. But this one escaped me.
I have watched draws.
The first thing I heard about it was that it wasn't fun. So I guess I'm out. With us now, maybe he watched it, Sam Panayotovich, host of Bet Sweats with Joe Ostrowski, weekday mornings on the Odyssey app and the Bet MGM network, also the Bet 1520. Although Sam, sadly, for my sake and maybe also Bulldogs, was not on today. Got the heads up last night. I will not be there tomorrow. I like Chris Mack. I've been on with him a few times, but it's not the same without Sam. So what was your reason for being absent, if I may ask?
Oh, that's personal, Mike. I would never tell you why I called off work.
No. Okay. On the air. Okay, well, nonetheless, you weren't there. But I'm sure you're still completely up to speed here on a big weekend in college and pro football, right?
I have to admit something. I know we're in the trust tree and nobody's listening right now, so this won't be that bad. I keep betting the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I can't stop.
Yes. Right, I'm not even sure it's doubling down. Is it tripling or quadrupling down on this? Well,
no, you go, Sam. I mean, the odds have gotten better the last little while, haven't they? Probably.
Yeah, I bet some 12-1 on Monday, and then I bet some 10-1 on Tuesday, and then I even, a local guy didn't give me a good price, but he let me bet, a decent amount. So I bet that at, 9-1. If the Bills actually pull this off, I'll win, it's got to be about $40,000 now.
I told Sam
tasty
that he has moved into the top 5 people I'm rooting for them for. He's passed a couple. He's passed all my cousins, my parents. Not yet my sisters or my wife or my father-in-law. That's the top 5. Those 4 people and Sam.
For me, Sam, I might slot you. I might slot you just right under my dad. My dad's 92. I'd really like this to happen at some point soon here because, but you're right in there after him.
Awesome. Longtime Bills guy, Sammy P. Noted.
Well, Sam, let's hear. I think maybe Bulldog could use it. Maybe a lot of our listeners could use it. It's interesting to me that they've had some lopsided wins, including last week in Pittsburgh. I mean, how many times we've lived our whole lives with this team? Have they ever won a game like that in Pittsburgh? Maybe none. Just completely dominant. But I think they're still a hard sell for a lot of these fans because they don't get the ball downfield and they've had lots of injuries. So how would you allocate your confidence in them from what they are and then also what the rest of the AFC is?
It's a very good question. I think my confidence doesn't stem from this bullish confidence on Buffalo. It's more of a lack of confidence in everybody else. And I mean, I've told you guys for a month now, Kansas City's not making the playoffs. I wholeheartedly believe that. And if you could get them out of the way, who do you like against Buffalo in the playoffs? I don't have an answer for you. So it's, and bookmakers keep telling me the same thing. It's wide open. The AFC is wide open. Well, if it's so wide open, give me one of the best teams and give me Josh Allen, and I'll take my chances. But I really think it's a lack of a dominant team. And, look, if Kansas City gets in and squeaks to the 7th seed, I'm going to be terrified if the Bills play Kansas City like everybody is in Buffalo. But if you do the math and you look at Kansas City's schedule, if they lose this game Sunday night, it's over. Curtains. And I don't think they're good enough to rip off a bunch of wins in a row because this team is just not able to run the ball. They have no pass rush, guys. Kansas City cannot get to the quarterback. So I guess the long-winded answer is I believe in Buffalo because I don't believe in anybody else, and I get Josh Allen.
Right. Recognizing that, you have to earn respect in the betting market and just from fans with, opinions. Do you think we're disrespecting the top of the conference, Denver and New England?
Yeah, but we also have never seen Bo Nix or Drake May win playoff games. So I think it's fair. You know, it's happening in the NFC too. I'm a Chicago kid. I don't respect the Bears. I mean, I think it's a great story, and Ben Johnson looks to be a really good young coach. But then you look up, the Bears are a 7-point favorite at Green Bay, and the Bears are 35-1 to win the Super Bowl. So, you know, the books are saying Denver, New England, Chicago, just not good enough or deep enough or experienced enough to win multiple playoff games. And, you know, I don't have to tell you guys, it's nice to win games in October and November and December, but you got to win games in January. And for young quarterbacks, that's not always easy, guys.
7-point underdog in Green Bay, the Bears. That is a 4:25 game. That's the game that was flipped with ours.
Right.
This game was originally late and then moved to 1 o'clock, and that game went the other way. With Sam Panayotovich. Sam, so, I mean, I don't know if the Bills are value. You're just loading up on them. You don't like Chicago as a bet. Who do you like? Where is their value in either conference for a futures bet?
Man, I'm so late to this one, and Ostrowski and I talked about it when it was 60-1 in like early October. Seattle. I mean, Seattle to me is one of the most complete teams in the league, and you know, Darnold's just been a different guy since he had that little short pocket with Kyle Shanahan. Because you know, Darnold goes from New York to Carolina to San Francisco, and you know, he got to work under Shanahan, and then he goes to Minnesota and works under O'Connell. He's just a different quarterback now. But you know, the price. It's not great, Mike. They're 10-1 to win the Super Bowl now, and they're 5-1 to win the NFC. You know, they were 30-1 to win the conference and 60-1 to win the Super Bowl. So I don't feel like this is a Stephen A. Smith scorching hot take, but you know, in this NFC, I think it's one of those teams out west. You know, LA or Seattle. And you know what's even crazier? When I was on the show in the summer, I think it was Bulldog and Sal. I had Buffalo over San Fran. Guys, if San Fran had any warm bodies on defense, we'd be talking about them to be a Super Bowl team. Like, they just keep winning despite Bosa, Warner, Gross Matos, the rookie from Georgia, Mikael Williams. Like, all these guys are hurt.
He hasn't been there all year, right? Yeah.
They keep winning, though. They keep winning. If they were healthy on defense, they would be a legit Super Bowl contender.
Doesn't Darnold last year, like the flame out week 18 and then in the playoffs, give you some pause about Seattle?
Oh, 100%. But again, like if you ask somebody in Vegas who makes odds or books bets, and you ask them to rank the top 10 teams, they'll tell you that the number one team, which most people would say the Rams, the number one team and the number 10 team, New England right now, the gap is like 2 points on a neutral. So that speaks to the wide openness, if you will, in this league. I mean, here's a question. Who's winning the Super Bowl? I don't know. Like, obviously, I've bet Buffalo, and I've already buttered my bread that way. But I think it's never been more difficult to pick a Super Bowl winner in the month of December in years.
What did you think last night, both of you? So I was worried about Dallas. Like, I'm watching – I picked Dallas. I didn't bet them, but I was hoping for Dallas. Prescott MVP – more interesting playoff race if they win. And the game gets going, and even though they were in it, I'm like, you know what I just thought of? Dallas never wins this game. Prescott, Dallas, they never win this game. What was I thinking? How did I not think of that?
I thought when it started, it looked to me like Detroit could not block Dallas, protect Goff, like especially in the middle. I thought, like, wow, Dallas is going to eat here. Like, they're killing these guys up front.
But that went both ways.
Right, and then it went away. Like Detroit, they fixed whatever that was schematically, or their guys just started winning. I don't know. But, man, I thought Dallas looked unblockable. Detroit, sure, Hutchinson. I thought that was the biggest swing in the game. When it started, I thought Detroit was really in trouble, but they stabilized quickly.
So that's it for Dallas now, Sam?
They're 120-1 to win the Super Bowl. The books are saying that's it. They're 8-1 to make the playoffs. I'm not betting it. Are you?
No, I saw it 9% last night. What would have to happen? Both conferences, the wild card traffic is pretty thick. You'd have to have Philadelphia just completely nosedive here at this point. Sam, how about Championship Saturday in college football? What's your favorite?
So I like Indiana. Understand Wise Guys did bet a lot of the better numbers. They bet 6, 5.5, 5, and now 4.5 at a couple books in Vegas. I do like the Indiana side. I think their offense can actually – they can challenge Ohio State vertically and horizontally. And as good as that defense has been, Ohio State hasn't really played a good offense all year. And Indiana has a Heisman-caliber quarterback in Mendoza. They can run the ball. They went into Oregon and whooped. It's a good football team. So I do like Indiana. But if you want to get weird with me, guys, Mercer is playing South Dakota tomorrow in the FCS. Oh, buddy. Oh, don't you know. Mercer is a 5.5-point favorite, and they're going to win by 2 touchdowns tomorrow.
Your guest, was this yesterday? Was this the minute I heard yesterday, Shea and Irving? It was like Montana, Montana State, Mercer. You had Mercer. There was one more. And
he had North Dakota State, I think, against Illinois State.
That's it. We're parlaying those 4 picks. Mercer, North Dakota State, Montana, and Montana State. Is this something I can do?
I am taking
in New York?
notes.
Are any of those teams, New York teams, the Montana teams, are those New York? Is this allowed?
I think you're clear.
All right.
Did you just ask if Montana was in New York?
Well, I thought Montana State might have been in New York. It's a big state. But I guess no. Bulldog is shaking his head no, and maybe he's shaking his head for more than one reason. No, that's good. Mercer is in Georgia, I believe. I know the hard ones more than I know the easy ones.
The ones with the state's name in the name of the school.
Yeah, those are tricky. Those tend to trip me up.
Yeah.
North Dakota State is North Dakota. All right, Sam. Any questions for us?
I'm just perplexed by this. Is Montana in New York? I'm so rattled right now. I don't know what to do.
I was just kidding.
You haven't been working with us. You haven't been working with us long enough, Sam.
It was a joke.
I
love my maps.
It happens all the time.
I love my maps. No, sorry to confuse you. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk next Friday.
All right, guys. Always fun. See ya.
Sam Panayotovich, Bet Sweats, weekday mornings, 9 to noon on the BetMGM network and the Bet 1520, also the Odyssey app. He really didn't know that I knew that. Okay, well, I guess I deserve that.
He did take the day off of work today.
I guess I deserve it.
I'll just throw
Where
that
is
out
Montana?
there. Just throw that out there.
There's 3, I believe it's only 3, but 3 Division I or FCS football teams in New York State that are not going to show up on your app. Syracuse, Buffalo, and Army. I think that's the whole list.
Okay.
But a lot of things have changed in college sports, so maybe that's old news. Maybe there's some new school,
could be.
Montana,
Yep.
for instance. Maybe there's some new school that I should know about. We're going to talk to Theo Greminger in about half an hour or a little less. Get some fantasy intel for Week 14. There's a lot. Odunze out, London out.
Oh, that's official.
Yes.
Out. Wow.
Harrison out again. Murray out for the year. They're not even bringing him back.
You could see that coming a mile away.
Daniels in for Washington.
That's kind of a surprise to me. Anyway.
So there's a lot of stuff there. You can reach us at 803-0550. We're at Mitchell's Tavern. Might be easier to reach us here on Sheridan. No, that wouldn't be easier. You can still call.
A couple of good spots just opened up. Come on down.
Right.
Get some beef, get some beer.
We have the Sabres tonight in Winnipeg, pregame at 6. Sal Capaccio will join us at 5 for the drive at 5. We'll do picks after that. Sorry to bounce around on you there. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, Football Friday. This is WGR. They just brought a garbage plate out here at Mitchell's Tavern. Hot dogs. I would usually be the burgers. Go the burgers route.
I think you've got some burger.
It's hot sauce. It's meat sauce.
Yeah, okay, all right.
For it to be like a garbage plate would traditionally have
one or the other, right? Yeah,
meat sauce, chopped onions, raw,
I got you.
Fries, like home fries or French fries in this case, and then yellow mustard. And then you can go burger, hot dogs, whatever. They want hot dogs here.
Gotcha, all right.
So I've been tempted many times in Rochester for different reasons, but that's not really my style anymore. I guess maybe it is deep down, but I have to fight it off, the garbage plate. But here it is, like right. And what did you get? Chili fries.
I think they're. I think they're.
For both of us.
Yeah.
I know.
But they just look like steak.
Bacon.
There's some beef there. It looks good. There's a definite. The smell is intoxicating. I'm just gonna. The mix of ingredients here is exciting to me. I cannot wait for this segment to be over.
I like the yellow mustard touch.
Yes,
you got
me too.
I mean,
and it's very nicely drizzled.
It's like cutting Fenway Park's outfield.
Yes, it's very attractively laid on there.
It's done artistically.
Yep.
I love that.
I have started doing that on my hot dogs at home. Like I used to just whatever, just mustard, right? Just like a big blob of mustard.
Whatever comes out.
But now I'm like a little lighter on the squeeze and drizzle once down and then the other way, sort of crisscross.
Do you do the pre-squeeze?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. You got to make sure the mustard is not. Yeah, if you don't shake up mustard, I don't know what you mean. If that's what you mean by pre-squeeze. If you just grab a mustard out of the fridge and tip it upside down and start you're getting water. You're getting mustard water, and that's the worst.
I find that can happen even after you shake the bottle. So I will always find a paper towel.
Oh, I see.
And start the mustard on the paper, making sure after that first squeeze, the pre-squeeze, if you will.
Then you're all right. I see what you mean. Then all right.
You have no worries.
Yeah.
Because it's never like water doesn't come out second.
I don't think I've ever had a problem if I shake, but I sometimes forget to shake and then go, oh.
Well,
I got mustard water on my hot dog.
Relatable.
It's sad.
Last night's game, kicking, the refs, George Pickens. There are a few things from last night's game. Theo Greminger will call in at about 4:10. So we'll talk to Theo about some Week 14 lineup advice. Sal at 5, picks, and then the Sabres in Winnipeg pregame with Paul Hamilton at 6 o'clock. We're at Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
The Buffalo Bills wrapped up their week of practice this afternoon as they get ready for the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. The injury report brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-million. Defensive end Joey Bosa and linebacker Terrell Bernard are out for Sunday's game, while wide receiver Joshua Palmer is doubtful. Tight end Dalton Kincaid and offensive lineman Spencer Brown are questionable for this game. Deion Dawkins, A.J. Epinesa, earlier on the injury report this week, both fully cleared, ready to go for this weekend. As for the Bengals, wide receiver T. Higgins has cleared concussion protocol, and he will play against the Bills on Sunday. Around the NFL, Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels will start for Washington this Sunday. Daniels has been out of the lineup for the Commanders since November 9th. The Atlanta Falcons will be without star receiver Drake London this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals have announced that quarterback Kyler Murray will not be back this season. Murray, dealing with a foot injury, was placed on injured reserve a month ago. To hockey, game day for the Buffalo Sabres as they continue their lengthy road trip tonight. Game 2 of 6 away from KeyBank Center in a row. They take on the Winnipeg Jets tonight, a team that Buffalo beat 5-1 earlier this week back on Monday. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net for Buffalo. Puck drop for 7 o'clock tonight. Pregame will start at 6 here on WGR. College hoops, some Big Four basketball. Tonight, Canisius taking on St. Peter's. Niagara tipping off against Siena. Both of those games at 7 o'clock. You can hear the Niagara game on AM 1400. Tomorrow, Alumni Arena sees 8-1 St. Bonaventure taking on the undefeated 8-0 UB Bulls at 2 p.m. Join WGR and Bud Light for a Buffalo Football Friday happy hour. Schopp and Bulldog are broadcasting live today until 7 o'clock at Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda. You'll also be able to enter for a chance to win a Josh Allen jersey. No purchase is necessary. Enjoy another live broadcast coming up at the Draft Room. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. This update is brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Football Friday on WGR today from Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. It's fun to go to places like Mitchell's today and a couple others we've done and see people that we know who are here all the time. And you just didn't know that this was a place.
This is my
never
joint.
had that conversation with them, like, family in my case today.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Okay, this is not your first time here. This is mine, but not yours. Football Friday is brought to you by Celino Law. Car crash? Call Celino, call the 8s, and by Crosby's Pizza and Subs, Crosby's Hometown Fuel, game day ready since 1922. We'll welcome Theo Greminger here in a couple of minutes as he joins us, talk a little bit of fantasy for Week 14. Big week. Bulldog and I are playing for a spot in the hallowed playoffs of Paul's League. I mean, hallowed. But, you'd like to make the playoffs.
You
One of us won't.
Right. And I'm off to a great start.
Gibbs.
I have Jahmyr Gibbs. So, that's it'd be a bad beat if you get 36 points from your running back on Thursday night. But whatever. It's a long week. A lot of fake football to be played.
So true. I like this point about fantasy, how it's easy to, you're looking at playing a player and you can see a zero. Like you're also starting Krosky Merritt.
Right.
And you could see a zero.
Last time he played, I think he had 3 points.
They don't use him.
Right.
So you can, I think it's easier, like instinctively, to imagine the bottom.
The bust. Yeah, right.
But, with Gibbs, you're not going to imagine a zero. But people, I think it's harder to ponder like what the ceiling might be. Like if you got 20 from your RB1, that's a good week. You get 36,
right? Or
in the case of 2 weeks ago, 55 or 60.
I turned the game off. Dallas kicked the field goal, pretty late. So I missed the last Gibbs touchdown. I was like, they're kicking the field goal. Maybe they'll get the ball back. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a surprise. But I'm tired, and I just turned it off. And, at that point, Gibbs had whatever he had, 28 maybe, 30, whatever. But he got another touchdown after. Like, I woke up to, okay, this is a nice present to wake up to. Yeah, I mean, that's a ridiculously good week. He had an even better week a few weeks ago, I think, if I remember right.
That really is I don't know if it's the key, but it's something that is hard for me to weigh the highs and the lows equally. Or not even equally, but just remember that the highs can be higher than the lows are low. If you have, because a lot of guys, whether it's Krosky, Merritt, or some other 10 other, 20, 30 other flex players that are just like not going to give you 10 points, you're kind of hoping for 10 points. Like that, The difference is 0 to 10. Whereas with a guy like Gibbs or Jonathan Taylor or JSN this year, it's a difference of 20 to 50.
Right, 20's I feel like 20's the floor with a guy like him. I think he might have been estimated for 22 last night, and he obviously went pretty significantly over that, which is nice. So yeah, I'm off to a great start. I just need Howard Fannin Jr. to do something.
Harold Fannin Jr.
Harold.
How dare you? My cousin.
I dare.
Besmirching Harold Fannin. Someone who would not do that is Theo Greminger, joining us now on the Wester Hotline. Football Friday with a little fantasy mixed in. Theo, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
We're just talking about Jahmyr Gibbs and the thinking, the trap maybe. I don't know what to call it. I look at my rosters, and it's the blemishes that jump out to me. Oh, I can't believe I'm playing this guy. But the downside of a guy like that versus some other rando you would play and not feel that way, 10 or 12 points difference maybe week to week, versus what you get in the so-called league winners, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Barkley last year, is smaller. Like there's much more benefit in having a Gibbs on your team than there is a problem with whatever I was just talking about. So Gibbs is one of these guys this year, and now, Theo, as we get into playoff weeks, it's even that much more important.
Yeah, Gibbs is unbelievable. I think he's our number one pick next year, and I think there'll be a lot of arguments about this during the offseason. But Gibbs is doing so much at such a young age. Before the age of 24, he's historically up there now in touchdowns scored. He has more touchdowns than Barry Sanders in the first 3 seasons of their careers. It's actually crazy. And Gibbs has been really unbelievable when we get to the month of December, including last night. He's at 27 points per game his last 5 games in the month of December. And that's not even including the 46-pointer that he had last year that was in January in Week 18, which was very significant for Lions fans, but not necessarily for fantasy managers because we were all off. But Gibbs is remarkable. And it's sort of what you're talking about is in fantasy football, we try so hard to thread the needle and draft absolutely perfectly. But if you just draft 1 or 2 league winners in the same draft, you can make mistakes in multiple rounds. I have a couple of teams, Mike, that are doing very well where I didn't draft perfectly, but things have worked out because I have a Jahmyr Gibbs, or I have a Jackson Smith and Jigba, or if an FFPC tight end premium, I have a Trey McBride. And with those kind of players, you're just sort of running pure at this point and taking these smash weeks, and you can sort of afford to, pick together these guys that sort of get you through alongside them, and you're still able to put up 150-plus every week.
Right. On this show, Theo, every summer when coaches talk about their passing game running back as someone, he's virtually a slot receiver. We're gonna use it's a matchup nightmare. A lot of that's an eye roll. I think I speak for Mike here, but Gibbs is maybe as close to the actual article that like he's killing in the passing game even more. I mean, he scored 3 rushing touchdowns last night, but it was only like 40 yards. And the passing game is where he really is helping them in games.
Yeah, and when he was drafted, that was sort of the MO with Gibbs, is Detroit took him 12 overall, and there was a lot of talk in the fantasy football community that this could be the next Reggie Bush, this could be the next Alvin Kamara, the next Christian McCaffrey, the next player that could give us like 100 receptions. Detroit has not used him like that, but he's an unbelievable receiver. He was an unbelievable receiver at Alabama. He had the most receptions in a season, I believe, under Nick Saban throughout the entire tenure while he was at Alabama for any of his running backs. And when you get into all like the metrics, like the advanced stats, the targets per route run, Gibbs is unbelievable. And you're starting to see it. The two-way ability has always been there. And we love seeing Dan Campbell calling plays. Campbell's been fantastic for Gibbs. He's been fantastic for Jamison Williams. And, yeah, I completely agree with you. Gibbs has the ability to have 100 receptions in a season. Very few running backs have that ability. He's one of them. And it becomes even more amplified because this year running back receptions are down overall. If you go through, like, the target leaders at the running back spot, Christian McCaffrey, huge lead on everyone. Devon Achane, number 2. He's been very consistent, 20% target share, weekly type guy. And then after that, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, a few others like that. But to see Gibbs getting that sort of work in the passing game on top of just how it almost looks like he's playing a different sport at times as a runner. He's so fluid. He's so explosive. He's an absolute cheat code. And I think there'll be more and more people sort of pounding the table on him as the number 1 pick next year. David Montgomery, everybody likes David Montgomery. He's an absolute warrior out there, super tough running back, but he's getting older. Gibbs is getting better, and I think the gap between the two is going to be way more pronounced in drafts next year. So, Gibbs is unbelievable. Wherever you have Gibbs, you have a chance to win your fantasy league.
With Theo Greminger, yeah, I mean, if you had – I don't know what really this is to do strategically, but if you had picked like 105 and picked Gibbs or even McCaffrey and then say Bucky Irving in the second round has been out 6+ weeks, whatever that is, and then Smith and Jigba, you haven't really needed or missed Bucky Irving. But now you've got him. So that's position A. And you can probably get through the season very successfully with those 2 other players starting every week. Theo, what are you doing with what do you think anyway just about the Bengals who are coming to Buffalo this week? Burrow, Chase, Higgins, everybody's on the field. As you see the matchup, is it a blow-up spot for Cincinnati at Buffalo in December? Is it still that? I mean, Burrow coming back, he could be somebody, I know this from leagues I'm in, where he was on waivers a lot, as recently as like maybe even last week or 2 weeks ago at least. So would you lean into the Bengals here?
Yeah, I mean, with Burrow, we had sort of a rug pulled out from under us because everyone told us he was done for the season. And when you're in a redraft league without injured reserve spots, you just cut him. So, yeah, he was my number 1 waiver wire ad a few weeks ago. I'm, not a rocket scientist. When he's available on the waiver wire and I'm writing a waiver wire column, I had to put him up there because, like you said, Joe Burrow, when he's healthy, not quite Josh Allen as a fantasy football asset, but sort of in that mix right behind him. I would say that Cincinnati is a live dog, to use the Vegas term, on the road this week against Buffalo. My wish is Buffalo Bills fans won't like to hear this, but I just hope that we get a ton of points in this one, and I think that this game has the potential to tilt over and become a game sort of like last night where everybody who's got Buffalo Bills or Bengals in their lineups is going to benefit. They're a really dangerous team. And for fantasy, they're really, really a productive team because everything's consolidated. The touches with the 2 wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins now, he's playing this week, back from concussion, and Chase Brown, everything's consolidated. Joe Burrow is going to feed those guys, and Chase has the potential to put up a spike week every time he's on the field. Chase Brown has been terrific recently. the splits for Chase Brown from the beginning of the season to the second half of the season, Chase Brown is giving you what we wanted when we were drafting him, maybe a little bit too early this early season, but if you were able to survive, the playoffs are looking good for Chase Brown. I think he's in that mix of somewhere in that mid to low end RB1. So yeah, it's a tremendous spot for NFL fans, and I think a dangerous game for the Buffalo Bills. I think Cincinnati is going to run the table in every other game on their schedule. I think that they're going to end up winning their division. This is the game which is a big question mark. We do a staff-wide picks over at Fantasy Points, and I picked the Buffalo Bills to win this one, but I think it's going to be one of those games that's very high scoring and coming down to the wire. The edge will be the home field advantage and Josh Allen winning at home.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm fearful of the Bengals in this game from a Bills perspective. Their pass defense has been excellent all year long, but this is a test they have not really taken. They've not seen this talent really anywhere all year. So I think the Bills will be, they'll have to keep up if they're going to win this game and stave off the Bengals, because I know, the record is bad, but I think those three dudes back together, I just think they're going to do business.
Yeah, and also the game flow, their defense has been poor. I think the Bills are going to have a lot of success against them. Unless we see some turnovers, I think the Bills are going to put up points as well. Got to think it's probably a James Cook game. We're always rooting for that. And I think a chance for Khalil Shakir to get loose a little bit this week. So I think every player if you're sort of breaking ties in fantasy, play your players from these games. Even Evan McPherson put up a huge number last week. So even the kicker's getting in on it. So, yeah, the Bengals are definitely trending up.
6 field goals. That was against Baltimore. Theo, where are you ranking Lamar Jackson this week?
I'm trying to avoid playing him. It's insane. I had Rich Haribar on Dynasty Life, my Dynasty podcast this week, and I brought up the notion, and people will hate me saying this, that maybe this is a little bit of an adjustment with Lamar Jackson. Maybe the injuries over the years have sort of taken their toll. And Rich sort of brought up the idea that maybe he's not going to age quite as gracefully. I think that could also just be very short-term reactionary thinking. And I hope I'm wrong, Mike, because I have bags and bags of Lamar Jackson shares on my Dynasty rosters. But the rushing production has been non-existent for Lamar Jackson. Every year we've seen Lamar Jackson finish as the number 1 or number 2 quarterback in rushing yards per game. We've been able to lean on that every single year in fantasy. That's completely gone. He doesn't have a rushing touchdown since week 1. And over the last 4 weeks, the passing touchdowns are non-existent as well. It's a really, really tough bet to make. I mean, I think if you've got a player like Jacoby Brissett, you're probably using him in your fantasy lineup over Lamar Jackson this week, which is absolutely crazy. Then you've got the factor that he's playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which has been the team that has been the worst matchup for him historically throughout his career. Even when Lamar Jackson's putting up like MVP numbers, he's always struggled against Tomlin and the Steelers. I'm looking to break ties and not use Lamar Jackson. I think for some fantasy managers, you're just sort of probably still going to stick with him. But I'm way less fearful of missing out on a blow-up game than I would be at pretty much any other point in Lamar Jackson's career.
So maybe, no offense to the guy, he's been a kind of a fantasy savior, but Brissett could be the worst quarterback you might start over Lamar Jackson. Who's the worst receiver you would start over Justin Jefferson?
So that one's a little bit different for me. Mike, you can call me like a sucker on this one. It's really difficult for me to bench Justin Jefferson. I almost did it on a team last week, and it would have ended up looking like a sharp move. I think that the Washington matchup here, I think there's a chance that this game is not really a blow-up spot for Jefferson, but sort of a sigh of relief game for Jefferson managers. I don't think I'm benching him this week. I'd say if you were looking for where he should be appropriately ranked in fantasy, I'd still keep him in that wide receiver 15 to wide receiver 20 range this week, which for almost everybody listening to this, that's probably still a player you're starting. It's absolutely ugly times with Jefferson, but I cannot get there benching a healthy Justin Jefferson. It seems like that one is the fantasy gods will come back to bite you if you do that, and that's the game where he gets a 25-pointer on your bench.
Speaking of that game, are you excited for Jaden Daniels to be back?
I'm apprehensive a little bit. For me, it seems like an interesting decision for Washington to kind of not rush Daniels back, but sort of in a lost season for Washington to sort of play him. But this is a team with a lot of pride. They nearly beat Denver last week. It seems like Daniels really wants to play. Dan Quinn and them want to have him out there. And they've got Terry McLaurin back, and McLaurin also looks like he's trending up. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm shocked by it. I was just a little bit surprised. I thought we were going to get some sort of news that Washington potentially would shut him down for the year. Anything but that. They want to get him out there. So, Jaden Daniels absolutely back in your fantasy lineup with confidence this week. I think Minnesota's a tricky team for him to go up against, but with his ability, his talent, he's still somewhere in that top 6 quarterback range. We saw Marcus Mariota put up multiple successful weeks in this offense. Daniels is back. Daniels is definitely we're further ahead of where you would have ranked Mariota, and we would have had Mariota somewhere around like QB 12 this week.
One more, Theo. Who's like a sleeper for you this week? And if it isn't Adonai Mitchell, why not?
I mean, Mike, you just read my mind. It's got to be Adonai Mitchell. I think Adonai Mitchell, I mean, the talent is sort of unquestioned. He was a player that a lot of people had ranked as a first-rounder coming out of Texas, led Texas in receiving touchdowns on that really good Texas team with Xavier Worthy out there and with Jonathan Brooks. So for Adonai Mitchell, it's been sort of like it was a bad fit in Indianapolis. Now he's getting all these air yards every single week. We saw 12 targets last week. He was the only wide receiver on Sunday to have more than 100 receiving yards. And I think there's a chance that he could have a really strong rest of the year. And also it feels like this time of year, when you get to like week 14, week 15, I hate using floor play guys. I feel like it's just sort of a weak way to approach it. When I need a win, maybe need a certain number of fantasy points to feel comfortable about the week, I'd rather swing for the fences on a guy coming off of a big performance like Adonai. And I think the usage will be there. Now, if Garrett Wilson comes back, and I know he could come back maybe next week, then maybe we need to adjust things on Adonai Mitchell. But if you have Adonai Mitchell, you're going to use him. And I've got him in a few fantasy lineups this week. I think he's very interesting. I think Bam Knight is interesting. I mean, if we just look at what Bam Knight's been able to do, he's been putting up numbers pretty much every single week. He's had like 4 straight RB2 performances. And I'll say Devin Neal in New Orleans, the usage was strong, and I think he'll do just enough in the passing game that I think Devin Neal can get you by with somewhere in that 13 to 15 point range, which for a lot of fantasy managers at that RB2 spot or maybe the flex spot, that could potentially get you by. So I think he's interesting as well.
Good names. As always, Theo Greminger, Fantasy Points. Thanks for fitting us in today. Good luck this week.
Thanks, you as well. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Theo. 803-0550 for your calls. Football Friday from Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll have Sal Capaccio along at 5. The Sabres play tonight in Winnipeg. Pregame at 6. As for now, it's time for a break. We'll be back in a snap. This break is brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills have placed cornerback Darius Slay on the reserve did not report list, meaning that Buffalo will retain his rights. Slay was claimed by Buffalo's on waivers back on Wednesday. However, Slay has not reported to the team while contemplating his future. Other Bills news, the Bills wrapping up their week of practice. The injury report for Sunday's game, defensive end Joey Bosa, linebacker Terrell Bernard out for Sunday. Wide receiver Joshua Palmer is doubtful, while tight end Dalton Kincaid and offensive lineman Spencer Brown are questionable. As for the Bengals, they will get back wide receiver T. Higgins. He cleared concussion protocol and will play on Sunday against the Bills. Around the NFL, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Detroit Lions defensive back Brian Branch suffered a torn Achilles in last night's victory over the Dallas Cowboys. The Atlanta Falcons will be without star receiver Drake London this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels will start for Washington this Sunday. Daniels has been out of the lineup for the Commanders since November 9th. To hockey, game day for the Buffalo Sabres as they continue their lengthy road trip tonight. They'll take on the Winnipeg Jets, a team that Buffalo beat 5-1 back on Monday. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net for the Sabres. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock tonight. Pregame will start at 6 here on WGR. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer. You're listening to WGR.
Sam Panayotovich with us just about an hour ago. I think he's got a lot of company in that. I guess that's reflected in the odds. Plus 1,000 to win it.
Yep.
In January, will it come down to the quarterback? The Bills should hope so. They probably should, really hope so. But that's what it'll be. And then that Drake May, for one, or, I don't know, who else in there is in the same sort of category where just you got to hope he cracks a little bit.
He's the only. I think Daniel Jones. I love where you were so early on Indianapolis. We were waiting for him to crack, and they're cracking. And Jones is hurt. Like, I am not scared of him at all. I'm not scared of Denver. A lot of that is Knicks. Yeah, the rest of the conference. That's why, Baltimore is still such a focus, because it's the same sort of logic Sam is using on the Bills. If they get in, I don't know if I want to deal with them. I know how they look, and have looked, and how he's looked specifically. I'm just not ready to assume that isn't going to turn around in the next 6 weeks before the playoffs get here. But the rest of the field of quarterbacks, it's one of the reasons I'd like to see Burrow not make it either. Because this offense that the Bills are playing on Sunday, I think is the scariest offense left in the conference. And it's on a 4-8 team. But if they get there,
here we are again.
That's a team that I think you got to really worry. Yeah, same as last year. Didn't seem like it was going to happen, but, Baltimore fell apart to such an extent. You never really wanted to trust Pittsburgh. That has kept Cincinnati with the playoffs in the window for them. Man, the rest of the teams, like Trevor Lawrence, is he capable of having he's already had one great playoff game, right, against the Chargers, a big comeback.
It did happen.
But there's even him. Herbert, there's nobody that I feel like has the resume. It's really Jackson, should they get there, and Allen. May is the closest, and I'm not at all assuming he's going to falter. Maybe he will. It should be more of a process. You should not go from 4-13 to the 1 seed. I know somebody goes last to first most years in this league, in one of the divisions. But contending for the first overall pick going into Week 18 to the very top of the conference.
Right.
I'm not here to tell you it's unprecedented. I've not done the work.
It's close.
To tell you, but
it's close.
It can't happen a lot. I mean, to be the very best team. Holy cow.
No, it's close. They would have earned the number 1 pick had they lost that finale last year to the Bills to this. And I don't know, they might have drafted the same guy they did had they picked first, Campbell. You know?
Yep, maybe.
Maybe they pick Hunter or somebody else, but not a quarterback. So it came up a day or two ago, 13 seconds like it always does, 2021. Like there was your best shot. The Bills didn't go from the bottom to the AFC Championship in 2020, but still, like that was a pretty good jump. And we said it then. It's really nothing you can do anything about. It's just talk. But don't assume you're going to get all kinds of chances at this. And they had a great chance that year.
Right.
And, lost. Wasn't that close. And now they've been back 4 more times since then and still are getting chances. And here's one that I'll say again, I'm not so optimistic for, or rather pessimistic about, because the competition is what it is, and the teams that win are not always it's not always their best team or, even their best season necessarily. They get in and make it work. I don't want any credit for the Colts yet for 2 reasons. One is
they're still 8-4.
They're still 8-4.
Right.
The bet was that they would crash.
Right.
And they have lost 2 games. The other is those were close games. Like they were up 20-9 in Kansas City.
Right.
And I'm watching that going, I guess I was wrong about this.
Right.
And then last week they lose to Houston, and the refs it was some controversy in that game. They didn't have to lose that game. So they have not really
That's right. The wheels haven't completely come off.
No.
Yeah.
That really hasn't happened yet. Now this week they go to Jacksonville, where they've had a lot of problems. And maybe that won't matter. So the pressure's on now, though, at least.
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
I love Jacksonville this week in that game. And, and then a little of this, I don't know, does everybody do this? I think, you probably try to avoid it. But what did you, it's hard to avoid what you thought of a team going in. And I was really bullish on Jacksonville. I liked them a lot going into the year. I thought that everything the coach was talking about made sense. We're going to run our offense through Brian Thomas Jr. What? They still may win that division. They're in first now. But that didn't happen at all. And they've lost Hunter. So I don't know what kind of form they'll ultimately be in. I don't feel like they're a real threat, but I like them against the Colts at home this week. It's just it's week to week. The way we were talking at the outset of the show, and me being so, I guess I'll say, fearful of the Bengals offense, right? And that this game, I don't like the Bills with the spread. I think they can win a game and not cover, and that's fine. I'll gladly take it. And we can argue about style points and whatever.
11-10.
I think this is a game. This is a team. I don't think there's another team that will scare me as much offensively as this team does. So, losing the game will sting. Maybe they'll get knocked right out of the spot that they're in right now if they lose this game. And it will bring Cincinnati alive, and we'll see what Houston does. But I'm not at all feeling like their chances are severely damaged of winning the Super Bowl should they get in, because of everything that Sam just said and we're just talking about. It's still so wide open. I don't know who. I'd be worried about playing Cincinnati again. I'd be pretty worried about having to go to Houston again because of what that defense did. If it comes to that, they're in the wild card hunt with us. They could still win that division. That could be a first-round matchup even.
Great.
But, I think this game is harder than maybe their first-round playoff game could be because of Burrow and Chase and Higgins. I just think it's a very unique matchup. So, I guess I'm trying to hedge a little. I'm not pessimistic overall on the Bills' chances, but this game, I think this is a tough matchup.
Theo Greminger has the Bengals in at 8-9.
Right.
Ravens go to Cincinnati next week, host the Patriots, to Lambeau at the Steelers. Okay. They don't have to win 3 of those games. They're 6-6. The Steelers have at Baltimore, Miami next Monday night at home, at Detroit, at Cleveland, Baltimore. Steelers and Ravens split. Did Joe Goodberry lay this out? Maybe they're both 7-7 with their 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens could lose 2 of those other 3. The Steelers could also lose 2 of those other 3.
That's how the Bengals
and set things up for Cincinnati, even if they lose here. Wow, imagine that prediction before the season. 9-8, winning that division.
Right.
We'll talk about some of the interesting elements from last night. George Pickens, what happened? Also, some ref stuff. Love that. Love the ref stuff. And kickers, just chip shots from midfield. Easy game. Sal Capaccio at 5. It's Football Friday. We're at Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Friday here on WGR, happy hour from Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We have your chance to enter to win a Josh Allen jersey. No purchase necessary. One more live broadcast from us in this Bud Light phase that we're in will be 2 weeks from today at the Draft Room. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly, 21 plus. Why do I let myself get suckered into these night games where I'm online and there's obviously bad calls, and I just feel like I just have the impulse is too strong. But to tweet about, how bad it is sometimes. Mm-hmm. This interference call on Jake Ferguson for Dallas.
Yeah, right.
You can always tell what side I'm on. There's no hiding that. But still, how they ended up on offensive pass interference after discussion.
The broadcast talked about, I can see the defender grabbed him here. I see what they're going for. And then they made the announcement just like, whoops. Right? That's how that went, right?
I think so.
That was pretty crazy. At least the big pass interference call that cost Dallas a 1st and goal on Pickens in the end zone, or whatever, the 3 or 4 yard line. Ferguson did have his hands in that guy's face. Like, that was at least, straight up fine.
He did.
That wasn't no complaints.
I think this is Sean Hockley's crew. They did Bills Patriots. I remember just from being there, remembering that. I think this is the ref you don't want to see. Bills, playoffs. I think this Hockley is the ref you do not want to see. Just too much. And some of it doesn't make sense. And by the way, the big point, as always, is it's really going the right direction, right? With now we have replay, now we have challenges, now we have more cameras, now we have virtual measurement, now we have drones, now we have space ref replay. At least the good news is these kinds of controversies are very rare now.
Oh, sure, yeah, they get so much more right now.
It's really working.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah. Yeah. God forbid they would ever just, I think, really address the problem with, training full-time. Does anybody even make the argument about full-time refs anymore?
Not really.
Like, we gave up, right? Just like I've given up complaining about replay at all. Like, it's omnipresent. I knew this intellectually all those years where I screamed for its abolishment. It's not going anywhere. I always knew that. Now I don't even fight the fight anymore. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Take your time. I got nothing else to do.
I don't know. Like,
you've got me held hostage here.
Maybe it's my age a little bit, but when a guy, any play, you can see this, but there was one last night, I think, near the goal line, and nobody makes a call. They're all just waiting to be told what the call is going to be.
The safety play was really something.
The safety.
That was another one where the broadcast went hard on,
It's definitely a safety.
And definitely a safety. And they come back and they have an angle. It was right. He did get, contacted by the defender. The ball was out of there. It was entirely out of the end zone at that moment.
I guess.
But holy cow. I mean, everything is just so hard.
That ref analyst, Terry McCauley, is easily, I think, the most contrarian of the ref analysts. He's the one, I don't know, he's not bombastic or anything, but he's kind of always, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Other guys can be, you hear Gene Steratore talk himself in circles about just like, well, it was hard, but, you got to understand, he will never be, like, directly critical.
Right.
McCauley will say, nope, but his thing, and I don't know where this went. This was really maybe never a real thing, clear and obvious. That safety, that's not clear and obvious at all. Okay, we found an angle where we think, not that you ever see the whole ball, where we think the ball is all in front of the goal line. We found an angle where we think that's true. That's not clear and obvious, and all it is more confusion and more time wasted and more frustration because all of this adds up to we just don't really trust it. I mean, offensive pass interference on that Ferguson play is what gets people to what am I doing with my life?
Right.
It's not even close, and we can't review that, but we actually do. Because now every game, not every game necessarily, but there's a lot of calls that are not. It's not openly said. It's being replay assisted, but it is.
I'm so glad you got back to that because I do understand. Even though I think there are examples, I got to go back to last year for one that I actually witnessed, where this wasn't the case. But the deal is they can help you. That's why often this happened in the Bills game on last Sunday, where there's a flag. Didn't the guy in the Bills game on Sunday announce the penalty and then go, wait a minute, no, actually there's no foul?
Yes.
Right? He started to announce the penalty and they told him, no, pick it up. Right?
Exactly what happened.
That mechanism is in place. What isn't supposed to be done, but I've seen it happen, is they're not supposed to tell them, actually there's a foul here. Call a penalty, right? They're not supposed to do that. Why did they not? Why did was it not obvious enough that wasn't a foul? Why did Sky Ref tell them, actually, that's not offensive pass interference. Pick it up.
Could have.
Let it stand. They should have. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the whatever the line of demarcation for that is, right? Whether it wasn't obvious enough that it wasn't a foul, I don't know. But that was an absurd call.
And you tweet it, and just a bunch of people glom on and say the same things. And we all feel very, good about ourselves because we've, arrived at this obvious conclusion. But then there are going to be people who are right. And I used to be more this way, I have to admit, that are going to say, why are we even bothering?
You can't even, though, man. It's so it's mentally – I feel like it's mentally exhausting to fight the tide of people who – This is happening with the Sabres and goalie interference right now. There was the call. Lindy should never have challenged that call the other night, but he did. It cost him. It was a horrible challenge. Part of his explanation, he was asked the question in the post game. Well, did the recent call at home that went against you influence you? He said, yeah, it did. It's a call from the Carolina game last Sunday or whatever it was. Benson, there's a still shot going around of the two plays, the one from the Sabres game the other night and the Benson play, where Benson's just standing there harmlessly in front of the goalie. It leaves out the part where he clicks the goalie's skate going through the crease, and everybody's going like, look, there's no consistency with goalie interference. I'm like, I don't want to fight hand-to-hand combat with every one of you, but the play against Carolina was goalie interference. He hit his skate in the crease going by. I don't care how it was. And then people, like objective, I think reporters are telling you, oh, yeah, it's so bad. They can't figure out what's what. No. Watch the play objectively. What are you doing? One play, the guy hit him in the crease. One play, he didn't. That's the difference in the rule, folks. But I'd rather yell about it with you in a crowded bar on a Friday than type that. Like
into the abyss.
Someone else I follow was fighting the fight. I was just like, thank you. I just can't. I'm not going to do it. So annoying. Like everyone just believes whatever they want to believe, and sometimes there's just no turning it back.
Some reporters know what their followers want to read.
Right.
It's an easier life than to say the Sabres were, not wronged.
Yeah.
I guess. What game was it quickly where Dahlin hit the middle of the net and it was called back because Thompson bumped into the goalie, and they pulled that one back on the Sabres too. Paul even thought that was a bad reversal. I'm like, didn't he do the thing that you're not supposed to do? Didn't Thompson bump the goalie and then Dahlin hit the middle of the net? We didn't like who the goalie was that night. That's what I have in my mind.
I think, I have disagreed with Paul. I don't know where Paul is on this Carolina example I'm making, but I know I've disagreed with him about it.
I don't know. Like interference to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a former goalie dad. I guess I'm a I'm once a union member, always a union
Maybe.
member. I'm defending the goalies.
Sal coming up after sports, Football Friday, Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Game day for the Buffalo Sabres as they continue their lengthy road trip tonight, taking on the Winnipeg Jets, a team that Buffalo beat 5-1 back on Monday. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net for the Sabres as they enter the night in last place in the Eastern Conference once again. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock tonight. Pregame will start at 6 here on WGR. To football, the Buffalo Bills placed cornerback Darius Slay on the reserve did not report list, meaning the Bills will retain his rights. Slay was claimed by Buffalo on Wednesday on waivers. However, Slay did not report to the team while contemplating his future. Meanwhile, the Bills wrapped up their practice for the week this afternoon, preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Injury report brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-million. Defensive end Joey Bosa and linebacker Terrell Bernard out for Sunday's game. Wide receiver Joshua Palmer doubtful. Tight end Dalton Kincaid and offensive lineman Spencer Brown are officially questionable for this game. As for the Bengals, they'll get back wide receiver T. Higgins. He cleared concussion protocol and will play on Sunday against Buffalo. To college hoops, Big Four basketball. Tomorrow, Alumni Arena will see 8-1 St. Bonaventure taking on the undefeated 8-0 UB Bulls at 2 o'clock. Tonight, Canisius taking on at St. Peter's at 7 o'clock. Niagara tipping off against Siena, same time at 7 p.m. You can hear the Niagara game on our sister station, AM 1400. Join WGR and Bud Light for a Buffalo Football Friday happy hour. Schopp and Bulldog broadcasting live today until 7 o'clock at Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda. You'll also be able to enter a chance to win a Josh Allen jersey. No purchase necessary. Enjoy another live broadcast coming up at the Draft Room. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. This update's brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Drive at 5, Football Friday from Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Week 14. Cincinnati at Buffalo. Not surprising, really, to think from back before the season that this game would have been interesting and, challenging, I guess. But that 4-8 on Cincinnati, knowing that Burrow missed, he hasn't lost a start this year. So many of those games, defense a big part of that. Might sort of ease the pressure a little bit. Not for you.
No, I think this team is going to do business against the Bills through the air. As excellent as the Bills' pass defense has been, I don't think they've had a test as big as this one. So doesn't mean the Bills have to lose the game, but I'm just expecting Cincinnati to do business through the air. I just think Burrow, he's not my favorite. I'd like a guy that can move just a little better. It's not like he's a statue. He's not Drew Bledsoe. But I like the athleticism of our guy more and like Lamar Jackson more. But he is just precise, and I think he's going to get his. So to me, this game might come down to can the Bills keep up, and maybe if they just keep the ball for 38 minutes or something, it gets. That'll be in their favor.
You would take 38 minutes.
Absolutely.
You would
Sitting
take
here today,
37.
I would take 35.
35.
That's as low as I'm going, though.
34.
Too close to half. No, I respect Burrow and those receivers.
Sal Capaccio with us now on the West Her Hotline. Bills and Bengals Sunday. How about you, Sal? So it's 4-8. It might look on paper like this is a game that the Bills shouldn't have too much trouble with. 5.5-point favorite. But is it not quite that simple for you?
No, it's definitely not. In fact, I think the Bengals are 8-0 in Burrow's last 8 starts overall, to be honest with you. So, he matters. Big difference. Yep. Their record is not a reflection of who they are, I think. Now, that's offensively. I just don't think their defense is very good. They've been bad since the beginning of the season. We were told they were really bad in the preseason, and it got really bad right after that. I remember being with Matt Verderam out at the Bears-Bills scrimmage, and he was like, yeah, I went to Cincinnati, and, that defense is so bad. And then, it started to show up. And they have played a little better lately, there's no doubt. But I think that's where the Bills can do damage this week. I mean, so it could be a high-scoring game, but with the way that both teams actually run the ball, guys, both teams are very good at running the football. We know the Bills have the best rushing attack in the league, but the Bengals have a very good rushing attack as well. The difference is the Bills will lean into that running game. They will have no problem with like a 60-40 run-pass split, even more. The Bengals want no part of that when they have Joe Burrow. They just want to throw the ball, basically, and then they'll run it once in a while, and they'll be efficient.
So the latest on Darius Slay, which we don't need to spend a lot of time on necessarily. He never did show up. He's been put on a different designation, so he doesn't count against the 53-man roster. There's a report that the Bills have replaced him with safety Darnell Savage, who was with Washington, prior to that Jacksonville, and had played 5 years for Green Bay. What do you know about him? And it's over now with Slay, of course.
Yeah, so haven't dug into Savage yet, but he's a player that's played in the league a while, and coming from, Washington. Was he there when before Dan Quinn? I got to remember when he was there because I would say what's the crossover in the system? You know what's funny though? It's like I thought yesterday a few days ago when they claimed Slay. I said to you guys, I was surprised. I wouldn't have been as surprised it was a safety, right? And just felt like, okay, like safety, maybe you could add a guy here, but where do you really fit a corner? And then with Jamarcus and how all that went down, it just never felt like it was kind of the right fit. You didn't know why, but this feels more like the fit. But unfortunately, it's the circumstance of doing it after Slay. Now, as you guys know, Bulldog, you brought it up yesterday. This is the outcome that I predicted, that the Bills would put him on what's called the reserve did not report list. When this all started and everything happened and they said he's not going to report, I said, and I went through it today and I broke it down on my show today on the Extra Point Show, and I said the most likely outcome here is the Bills are going to put him on a reserve did not report list. What that does is it basically allows the Bills to retain his rights in case he does report. They could, in the meantime, release him at some point, whatever, but he can't just go sign with anybody else. And then he also doesn't count against the 53. It's no different than reserve IR, reserve physically unable to perform, reserve retired. It's called reserve because he's in reserve. He's not on the active roster, and the Bills now retain his rights.
I know we talked about this yesterday, and I did not hear your whole breakdown. I know I saw people complimenting you on it, so I'm sure it was thorough. Well, the one thing that I think I was kind of hung up on yesterday, because I know you could not have talked to Darius Slay while he was on the Steelers, but did you find out at all if once a guy is on waivers, if that is still considered tampering, or can you reach out and find out, like, hey, we're going to claim you, will you come if we do, or does that still just have to be blind?
According to the CBA, it specifically says teams cannot contact players or their representatives while the player is going through the waiver process. Okay. Now, it doesn't say if that's different beginning of the season for a less than 4-year player, but it says waivers. So I'm assuming that's for everything, which makes sense for this reason. Bulldog, which is the player on waivers is still property of the team who put him on waivers. They still have to clear waivers. It's no different in hockey terms when you put a player on waivers. He has to clear waivers, and then he comes back to your team, and you send him to Rochester, right? And in football, basically he has to clear waivers. Once he does, he reverts back to your team, and then you can do whatever you want with him, and you can release him. So really, while he's on waivers, he's still property of the other team, which is why you can't contact him or have that.
Well, that makes sense. Thank you for finding that out, because I think that is the only, to me, sort of smoking gun there could have been. Like, if you could have found out, then you should have and not waived Jamarcus Ingram. But if you're just trying to make your team better, even marginally, then I don't have, it still looks bad, but I don't have anyone to really blame. Other than Slay not wanting to come, and I'm not mad at him. He's 34 years old, and he wants to stay home. Okay. So, all right, I'm glad that we sort of can close the book on that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the Bills did what was in their best interest here as far as options and what they could do. And now we'll see if he, there could be a point in time where the Bills decide, okay, well, enough is enough. We'll just release this guy and he can go do what he wants. And they could just kind of, honestly, keep his rights in perpetuity, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, all right, well, if you ever decide to play football again, we have your rights. I think at one point they did, do this with Anquan Bolden and put him on the reserve retired list or whatever. And then Anquan wanted to I mean, if you ever wanted to come back, it didn't matter. The Bills did eventually basically, say, okay, well, we're just going to have you, release you, and then you can do what you want. So I think that was the most likely outcome here, and that's what we got today.
So back to the matchup. The Bills on offense here against Cincinnati. Cincinnati looks like, by the numbers, like a team you could kind of do what you want. So I assume what the Bills want is what we saw last week and have seen other times this year. Heavy and a lot of James Cook. Try to reduce turnover risk and so on. Any reason to think that won't be prominent here Sunday?
No, I think that's exactly what the Bills are going to want to do. I think they're going to want to run James Cook. I think they're going to want to keep the ball in their hands. I think they're going to want to keep it out of Joe Burrow's hands. They're going to want to make sure that they kind of, go to their strength. And with their strength is going to also, in the meantime, mitigate the, Bengals' strength. So I wouldn't be surprised today. And by the way, Chase Brown's a good running back. I just, was talking about how they've done a really nice job there of, what they're doing in the run game. I know the over-under is pretty high. This might be a game that gets a little shortened because of the running of each team. But at the same time, you might see some chunk plays in the run game, which sets you up for some scores. So it might be a higher scoring game, but it might not be the way that we see the higher scoring game normally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are a couple things there. I mean, I already mentioned that, I think before you came on, the Bills' pass defense is very highly rated. They've earned that, but I think this is a different level of test. The Bills' run defense has been pretty bad, putrid even, largely this year. They're at the bottom of the rankings, but I feel like that's gotten better the more Shaq Thompson has to play. So, I'm not assuming that the Bengals, because they've been running it well and the Bills have been poor looking at the season-long rankings, I'm not assuming that the Bills can't handle a running game. I think they've been different in that part of their defense for a couple of weeks now.
No, I agree with you, and it's something we talked about a while ago, guys, or a few times, I guess, recently, which is that the Shaq Thompson insertion of Shaq Thompson into the lineup has been beneficial to the Bills compared to what they had in Terrell Bernard. And even I hate talking like that because I think it sounds like you're just saying that Terrell Bernard is not a good football player. I don't think that's the case. I just think right now, for what the Bills need, Shaq Thompson is a better fit because teams are running on the Bills and they're smaller athletic linebackers, and the Bills need someone who can go downhill and play more of an old school type of middle linebacker, and that's Shaq Thompson. And Terrell Bernard is also dealing with the injury, and he has been dealing. He's out again this week, but that's not the ankle. But he's been dealing with the ankle injury. I think that's been a big issue for him this year, and it's caused him to not be able to fly around as best as he can. So angles are a little tougher. Getting the spots are a little bit tougher to get there as quick as he can. But I think overall, everything considered, the way offenses are attacking the Bills, it just feels like Shaq Thompson has been a better fit. And that has allowed the run defense, to your point, to just be better overall and not allow teams to just get off on it.
Yeah, I know it ends up sounding like we're all down on Bernard. I think if they have their full complement of pieces up front, then Bernard might be more of a fit. That the build of their defense is predicated on having Ed Oliver up there and having the other pieces that they wanted to put in place there. And they've been so thin right from the start. I mean, week one, everybody's there, and by week two, it becomes a revolving door. And then Bernard is dealing with the injuries. I guess I'm saying a lot of words here. I'm not closing the book on Terrell Bernard still being an asset to this team as their middle linebacker moving forward. But for right now, I think the way they're constructed, I think they need the element that Thompson brings.
I agree with you, and I, of course, wouldn't do that either. I mean, Thompson is older. He's on a one-year deal. I mean, I can't imagine it'd be this huge market for him in the offseason. Maybe the Bills want to bring him back, and that would be a fine move. But they just paid Terrell Bernard. He's a younger player. I think that overall they still love all the attributes that he brings. He is their team captain on defense. So I can't imagine them, moving off of Terrell Bernard. What I could see, and this is a discussion for a few months from now, of course, right? But what I could see is, to me, the way offenses are playing these days, maybe Terrell Bernard fits more to be a will linebacker. And then you draft or insert a more Shaq Thompson type of middle linebacker. Because
Milano's contract is up, right?
Yes, exactly. Milano's contract is up. And maybe if you don't re-sign him, and, it doesn't look like that would be the case, but who knows? then that might be where they go with this. You remember, he was a will linebacker originally. His rookie year, he started that Jets game. It didn't go well. They moved in the middle, and everybody's like, oh, my God, he's so small in the middle. And, yeah, he is a smaller middle linebacker. But I just think maybe down the road, maybe that's something they have to visit.
What's the wide receiver, because we couldn't not ask you this on a Football Friday, pecking order right now, including Kincaid, I suppose, who is questionable for this game, doubtful again for Palmer. That goes back to Atlanta, right? He got hurt in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Joshua Palmer. Brandon Cooks got a little bit of time. Coleman returned. How do you see, Shakir, of course. I don't know, what's the ranking? Importance or target share in this game?
Well, I would say this, first of all, that if Dalton Kincaid plays, then he's healthy enough to play. I think they just need to feed him because the Bengals have been terrible against tight ends this year. So he's number one, and he's got to be able to play, though. Sean McDermott said today, when I asked him specifically, is the knee injury new or something he's been dealing with? And he basically said, look, in the best way he could explain it, the way he's explained to him, that they were dealing with the knee last year, and then early this year, the hamstring pops up, so they're dealing with that. So because of that, then the knee didn't get as much attention maybe, and it started to flare up again. So now they're dealing with both, right? He did practice today again. He's been limited all week. So that's number one. Number two, I want to see what Brandon Cooks has in this game. He played some last week. He caught that pass from Josh early on. From all indications, he's already kind of ingrained in everything they're doing, the playbook. He understands everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes big. And then, usually when a team is struggling against tight ends, that means they're also maybe struggling in the slot, which that could be an area where you use Khalil Shakir a little bit more.
Yeah, I wonder about the middle of the field against this team. And so maybe that's even James Cook out of the backfield, too, and Ty Johnson as well when we're talking about the passing game. Yeah, there's a scenario where the Bills sort of have, on offense, another Tampa game, where it's just there's not a lot of pass rush coming, right? Cincinnati, no Hendrickson. I think Allen, if they want it, not them expecting them to lean into a throw-heavy game plan or anything, but I think they should have time to operate.
I agree. Now, the Bengals' offensive line has actually been better. I think that we have this perception of their offensive line that they're horrible. They can't protect Joe Burrow. A lot of that has been on Burrow throughout the years, right? Burrow's kind of taken some sacks, and, that's been kind of a knock against him a little bit. He's not the most mobile back there, and he's dealing with the toe. But their offensive line's been better. Their sacks for pass attempts are actually not that bad this year. They've had a little bit of, in and out of the lineup type of thing, but I think they've done a better job to stabilize that. The Bills will not have Joey Bosa. We know that. He's ruled out of the game. Bosa and Bernard are the only two that are ruled out. So you have Greg Rousseau and A.J. Epinesa, by the way. Obviously, A.J. Epinesa showed up yesterday with the foot injury, was in street clothes. That's good news. And just so everybody knows, it didn't seem like anything happened at practice. Sean McDermott specifically used the word off hours when we were talking about it. Okay. So I'm guessing something happened at home. I don't know. He slipped on the ice or, stubbing his toe going down the stairs. I have no idea. But, something happened there.
He's fine.
But they're going to need those guys. They're going to need their complement because, getting some pressure on Burrow and getting him move off his spot, so to speak, is going to be important. I don't know who they're going to elevate tomorrow, but my suspicion would be Morgan Fox gets his first action. He's been with the Bills now for several weeks. They have to elevate somebody from the practice squad because they only have 3 healthy defensive ends right now going into this one, unless they count TJ Sanders in that role, but I know they don't love using him out there all the time.
Less likely for me than it was a decade ago, but if I came down with a foot injury from home, I stepped on a Lego, probably. I stepped on a Lego and then on a stair, and something worse than just, ow, happened. I don't know if that could have been the case here with Epinesa. Sal, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the game.
All right, guys. You got it. Thank you.
That's our Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
It could still happen.
The Lego thing?
In my house. Just because we don't throw things out.
Yeah. I'm in the clear on that.
Margot finds it.
Right.
Doesn't eat it because it's a Lego. Just leaves it somewhere. Then you step on it. The Friday Drive at 5 is brought to you by Northtown Hyundai. Margot's my dog, not my wife or daughter. Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. And by Northwest Bank for what's next. Get started at northwest.com. And by Excelsior Orthopedics Express. Sidelined with a sprain, strain, or break? Get to Excelsior Orthopedics Express. Picks next. Sound good?
I am ready.
I think I'm ready. I got to cut one.
Well, good for you.
We only allowed 5, and
Yeah.
I've got 6 written out.
I'll show you. I know you'll trust me. Sam mentioned he likes Indiana. I had already written Indiana's my pick too. I've been not surprising. I've been riding the Indiana train multiple times this week.
Ohio State. I wasn't taking Ohio State or Indiana, but I heard on BetSweats today Ohio State is the number 1 public pick, -4. Never take the number 1 public pick.
I'm going against the room.
So that's probably smart.
I feel good about that.
I mean, the Buckeyes, too, last week. Indiana's crushing everybody, but it's a huge win, like visibility-wise, Ohio State.
Yep.
It'd be easy to, only 4?
Right.
Indiana, isn't that usually 50-7?
Right.
I wouldn't want to touch it. Back with picks. The Sabres are in Winnipeg. Pre-game at 6. Football Friday from Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda today. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
The Buffalo Bills placed cornerback Darius Slay on the reserve did not report list, meaning that Buffalo will retain his rights. Slay was claimed by Buffalo on waivers on Wednesday. However, Slay has not reported to the team while contemplating his future. The Bills weren't done with roster moves, though, today. With the free roster spot now with Slay's move to the reserve list, the Bills claim safety Darnell Savage from the Washington Commanders. Savage has played in 10 games this year, 8 of them with the Commanders this season and 2 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The injury report for the Bills for Sunday's game, defensive end Joey Bosa and linebacker Terrell Bernard out for Sunday, while receiver Joshua Palmer is doubtful. Tight end Dalton Kincaid and offensive lineman Spencer Brown are both questionable for Sunday afternoon. As for the Bengals, they'll be able to get receiver T. Higgins back. He cleared concussion protocol and will play on Sunday against the Bills. Around the NFL, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Detroit Lions defensive back Brian Branch tore his Achilles in last night's win over the Dallas Cowboys. The Arizona Cardinals have announced that quarterback Kyler Murray will not be back this season. Arizona placed Murray on injured reserve a month ago. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels will start for Washington this Sunday. Daniels has been out of the lineup for the Commanders since November 9th. It's a game night for the Buffalo Sabres as they continue their lengthy road trip. Game 2 of 6 on the extended time away from KeyBank Center. Buffalo takes on the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Face-off set for 7 o'clock tonight. Pregame will start at 6 here on WGR. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer. You're listening to WGR.
And what if I did do it? Even though I admit to nothing and never will. What does that make me? And I'm not here just defending myself, but all those pickers out there who've been caught. Each and every one of them. Who has to suffer the shame and humiliation because of people like you.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Are we not human? If we pick, do we not bleed?
On WGR.
I am not an animal.
Sports Radio 550.
Well, in our own ways, both of us, I think, are having successful years. Myself in the standings, the pick standings.
43, 29, and 3. Picking again, like with spreads, folks.
What is that?
I know BetSweats is going out of business. They need to launch a new platform. They get you in on it. I mean, you are smashing
60%. That'll work.
I don't.
Although, if you really did bet, that's how hard it is. If you're just betting all those games for the same units, you're really not that far ahead because of the VIG. Your losses cost more than your wins are worth.
Right.
I mean, it'd be profitable, but you almost have to be that good.
Yeah.
I think to make it worth doing.
33, 41, and 2.
But you win money. You win actual money.
Yeah, not on NFL games. Although, I mean, whatever.
Money's money.
A few months ago, I did have a hit on the Steelers-Bengals shootout.
Oh.
The Joe Flacco debut, right? Was that his first game there, I think?
I think so. The Noah Fant, Darnell Washington game.
Yeah, it was just all over it. That worked out great. Yeah, no, I had a, I don't want to say quite a rocking chair. I treated last night. I won a 5-leg NHL parlay. I finally stopped. The -1.5 always sucks me in. It's plus 185. Oh, sure, yeah, whatever. Pay attention. Almost like 80%. It's not 80%, but it feels like 80% of games are 1-goal games. So, like, you need 2 to win. You're in tough already. I bet 5 money line underdogs, and they all hit. And not only do they all hit, but right away, like 7-15. 3 of them were 1-0 in my favor, and by the end of the second periods, I was comfortably up. They were offering me like $1,300 to buy out. I had a $25. That was a bonus bet, $25 bonus bet to win $2,500, and I decided. I was texting with Sam. Sam texted me last night before. I don't usually just ring him up like, hey, I got action. But he texted me, really looking forward to getting back with it, tomorrow with you guys. And I said, yeah, great. And I showed him a screenshot of what I had. And I told him then, like, don't tell, I'm going dark. I was watching the Islander game. It was one of the games, them against Colorado, by the way, but easy win.
Wow.
I decided at 9 o'clock, I was watching the football game, second period's coming to a close. I'm comfortably ahead. Penguins are up 3-0 on Tampa. Like, I'm almost in a rocking chair, right? I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put everything over there. I'm going to leave my iPad alone. I'm not going to answer any text messages. I'm not going to scroll through. I don't want to know. I'm going to watch the Lions and the Cowboys, and at 10 o'clock, I'm going to look. And I did, and I won. And then I went and looked at the box score. Because the Penguin game was the closest one. It turned out to be 4-3 Pittsburgh. And I had no idea when I looked at the box score, like, oh, my gosh, they coughed up a 3-3, Malkin goal with 2.5 minutes to go to give them the win. Great. I'm thinking, boy, that would have been a sweat if I were watching it. I had no idea. A few minutes later on Twitter, I see a highlight of a Kucherov tying goal. And it's presented as though it counts. I'm like, wait a minute, this is over. The money, I already have the money. How is this possible? It got pulled down on one thing you should know about me, I've always loved replay review. The Tampa tying goal with the goalie pulled got pulled down on a hand pass.
Good.
Review, and that's how I won.
Finally. Some justice in sports.
I managed to get away with it.
Thank God they had that review. 82 games.
So I'm gonna buy something nice for myself, I think.
I'm going to pick games and hopefully win and win nothing. Hopefully come out ahead. We'll try it again here. Pick one. Bills. -5.5. I've had enough with how good Cincinnati is. 4-8. Defense is the worst ever. I'll take the Bills -5.5 at home. I want to give them some credit for the season they're having in a world where it feels like we're all just killing them all the time, just because they can't throw more or stop the run or whatever it is week to week. All right, Bills -5.5. Pick two. Packers -6.5 home to the Bears. That number to me is, come on, please bet the Bears. We need you to. Don't you know they're 9-3?
They're the one seed.
That's the kind of bet I avoid. Green Bay. Pick three. Arizona +8.5 versus the Rams. This doesn't feel good, but because especially after a Rams loss,
right?
And I accept how good they are, but Arizona has not actually had a bad season. They have a bad record. Is that not the same thing? I just mean they're competitive, Arizona, and with Brissett, they've been able to score. So Bryce Young did it against the Rams. I feel like I wouldn't recommend this pick. But, every one of these, somebody's betting the other side. Somebody's betting the dog.
Here you are saying it on the radio.
I feel like Arizona is kind of due to win a couple. They've shut Murray down. I'll take 8.5 points at home with the
Marvin
Cardinals.
Harrison Jr.
No Harrison. That's right. So light up Michael Wilson, although it is the Rams. Pick four, Seattle. I don't love West Coast to East Coast 1 o'clock, but I think probably Seattle is just a lot better. I'll lose this pick if Atlanta scores. That's what I just think they'll have a tough time doing with Cousins. If Bijan has a day, then I'm probably dead because I don't know if Darnold goes to Atlanta and sort of, has a smooth ride. But I think that's a much better team than the Falcons. I'll leave out Kansas City because I think they only win by exactly 3. I think the refs get the Chiefs home on Sunday night. Pick 5, Big 12 championship, I think it is, Texas Tech. This is a popular one in the the bet sweat space. I think it's maybe 11.5. I'm not positive of that number. Well, I'll look it up while you're going. But I will take Texas Tech to cover a double-digit spread in the Big 12 championship against BYU, a team they beat just a couple of weeks ago by a comfortable margin. Bills, Packers, Cardinals, Seahawks, Red Raiders.
All right, well, there's going to be you've forced me into a pivot. I'm down so bad here. I'm 10 wins behind you, 10.5 total. I'm just having an awful time trying to catch you. So I already was planning on taking the Bengals, so I'll stay there. Bengals getting the 5.5. I don't really care about the 4-8. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are 12-5 in their last 17 games played together, and I just think that they are going to put up numbers in this game. I'm not assuming the Bills will lose this game, but I think it's just going to be tighter, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals pulled the upset. I think that offense is that good, and I'm not sure how much I trust the Bills to be able to keep up if they have to in a game, if it becomes a shootout. If they get down, are they going to be able to find, even against that terrible Bengal defense? I mean, I don't know. How good is – well, I don't want to ask that question. I know the answer. Well, no, here's one. I was going to say Atlanta. How good is the Miami defense? The Bills got shut out for 3 quarters in Miami. I mean, what the hell was that? So
on the road,
I'm not comfortable, so I'll take Cincinnati. I was going to take Seattle as well. I'll get off of that, and I'll go against you taking the Rams because of how much you hated picking the Cardinals just now. So Rams minus 8.5. That's at the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
Sorry, just for my bookkeeping, I want to have it correct. The rest of it, I will take the Jaguars. Probably for the first time all year. No, that's not right. I like them coming into the year. But they're getting 1.5 hosting Indianapolis, and I like Jacksonville comfortably, outright.
I kind of do, too. It's interesting that they're not favored.
I know. I think it's really weird.
That's what scares me.
Yeah. And I'm also, against you. This is my version of your Cardinals pick. I'm taking Miami minus 3 at the Jets.
Okay. Somebody will win.
Miami's been playing pretty well. The Jets have been a little better, too. This is
A.D. Mitchell.
A little bit of me hoping Miami just kind of stays hot enough to keep Mike McDaniel and Tua and just sort of keep going. Because I think there's a roof on that, but they'll talk themselves into it if they finish strong, maybe. It was very curious that they didn't just move McDaniel out when they moved Chris Greer out. Flip a coin. And I am taking Indiana, like I said earlier, getting 4.5 against Ohio State. I believe that game is in the Colts home stadium in Indianapolis.
I think so.
I've loved Indiana all year long. And I know, like the behemoth, Ohio, I will easily be able to get into rooting for Indiana in this game. I grew up hating Ohio State and Woody Hayes and loving Michigan and Bo Schembechler.
How sad.
So that's just how it goes. I've never liked Ohio State because of that. Woody Hayes punched a guy from Clemson on the sidelines.
He had it coming.
When I was a little kid.
Nobody ever talks about what that guy said.
That was it.
Charlie Bauman. Nobody ever talks about what that guy did to Woody Hayes' property.
Go Hoosiers. I'll take the Hoosiers. When is that game? Saturday night?
I think so.
Okay. So there you have it. That's it.
Indiana. Who played for Indiana? Antoine Randall L.
That was honestly going to be, that might be the only name I was going to be able to get.
Was it at Penix?
He was there before he went to Washington. Yes, that's right.
I might be done.
He suffered maybe the first 2 of his devastating knee injuries while at Indiana.
Keith Smart would be another one.
Yeah. I think that was a different sport.
It was a different sport. The Sabres are in Winnipeg. We'll have pregame at 6. More Football Friday from Mitchell's Tavern on Sheridan Drive after this timeout. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited. We gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I mentioned inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Football Friday, sponsored by Bud Light, here today from Mitchell's Tavern in Tonawanda. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Want to make sure I mention one thing, and that's that the drive around the league that we just did by making picks is brought to you by Mike Barney Nissan. Awesome cars, great dealership, lousy jingle. I have what might be a dumb question about bowling.
Oh.
But as we sit here with bowling on.
You're really going to put me on the spot here, because if I get a dumb question about bowling wrong, the amount of crap I'll get from my dad.
No, well, I think this is something you would know, or most people would know, but I've never really known this.
Okay.
Because bowling is on here, and this makes me. This is a question I've kind of had forever.
Okay.
So you throw your first ball. Apologies if my terminology isn't on point here with bowling. Throw your first ball, and one pin, you sort of bump it, but it doesn't fall.
It's a wobbler.
It's a wobbler. It ends up a little bit off its spot.
Okay.
When they set the pins, they're always on exactly the same spots, in theory, right?
Yep.
So I think you could, it'd be maybe hard to do this, but you sort of just tap it a little bit, and it slides, but it doesn't fall. That hand thing comes down and picks up the pins. When it puts it down, is it where it just was, or is it back on the spot?
That's a great question. I don't know. It certainly would happen that a pin could wobble enough that it would get off its spot, but I wonder if it would get far. Like I don't know how wide. My dad used to be a pin setter. There was a table of three guys here that were in their 80s that come here every Friday for a couple of beers at 4:00. We got to know each other. And one of them said they used to be pin setters like my dad. I'm guessing that the pin probably wouldn't move far enough to not still get in the appropriate slot, and I'll bet then it's back at the spot.
You think?
Yeah.
So sort of like a claw comes down and will pick. There's a range that the pin would not be outside of.
Right.
That would be able to pick up the pin.
That's what I'm
thinking.
thinking.
You think it puts it back where it was?
Yeah, because it then it's locked into that spot, and it comes down, and that's it.
So you never have a situation in bowling where, like, you're trying to hit the 6 pin,
and it's
for
on
a spare, and you miss it because it's not where it's supposed to be.
Right. I'll bet not. But I don't know for sure, but I would bet not.
Like, you probably shouldn't. A good bowler shouldn't miss that shot, and he sees it.
Right.
So, in the press conference, can he get away with? Actually, it wasn't in the proper spot.
It was a little off.
I think it was a little off.
Yeah. This is like complaining about the turf conditions.
Maybe worse.
Yeah.
You should be able to hit it. I mean, put it anywhere.
Right.
Just pick it up and move it anywhere you want.
Right.
I'm a good bowler. I'll knock it down. Anywhere. All right.
It's nice to see some bowling on TV.
It is.
This is Beat the Champ. Paul Peck is hosting this. Like I love this.
It looks fun. I got comfortable chairs.
I grew up watching Beat the Champ.
Me too.
And the ABC bowling, 3:00 on Saturday.
Myself as well.
Yeah.
Always looked forward to it.
Chris Schenkel.
And Nelson Burton Jr. You know what was cool about that? When you turned it on, you likely had no idea who was bowling.
Right.
Here's the top 5 this week. I mean, would you in the 80s have gone online to find out what today's lineup was going to be?
Yeah.
Is Petraglia on there? Mark Roth? Earl Anthony? Are we getting? I met Earl Anthony.
That's absolutely right. You
just got who you got.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're better than others.
We were a big Earl Anthony house.
Mine too. My mom's favorite.
My dad loved. He had for a while. He had like a haircut and the glasses that like my dad had when he was probably Earl Anthony's age.
Okay.
And I think that was probably the thing. It might have been his style, like everything, how he rolled it, whatever. But
he kind of looked like he could have been a preacher.
Yeah.
I met him.
How was he?
He was great.
Where did you meet him?
At Olympic Bowl in Rochester.
All right.
When they had a tour event there, I went to it. And I think he was like an honoree. He wasn't there, he was retired.
Yeah.
But he was at it. We didn't really have a conversation that I remember.
You just, hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah. It was quick. Got an autograph for my mother.
That is awesome. Does she
still have it? I don't know. She liked all the lefties. She's a lefty. And she bowled, so she likes all the lefties. Petraglia. That name ring a bell?
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Petraglia.
Johnny Petraglia, yes.
He wasn't on that often, it seemed. He wasn't, like, always on.
Marshall,
when you got him.
Marshall Holman Jr.
Love it. Loved Marshall Holman Jr.
How about a pull there?
That's a great pull. He was like 5'3". Mustache.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap this up. Bowling memories. Bowler memories, in fact. Thanks for the rules clarification.
I don't think I did anything.
The Sabres are in Winnipeg, and pregame with Paul Hamilton is next here on WGR.